Hello, and in this video we're going to take a look at the latest Upload VR gaming showcase. Now this is a showcase lasting about 45 minutes long that shows us some of the upcoming VR titles coming to all major VR platforms. But in this video we're taking a look specifically at those Quest 2 games, focusing on those reveal trailers. Now reveal trailers are trailers that have never been seen before the Upload VR showcase, and so these are games that we might have known little or nothing about before the Upload VR gaming showcase. So in today's video I'm going to shed a bit more light on those games, bring up some more information and detail and share them with you to give you a better idea of what those games are all about. Before we get into the games, if you like the video, remember to give it a thumbs up, and if you like what you see, you love your Quest and you're not subscribed already, you might also consider subscribing. Now first up is going to be a bit of a quickie because I don't think we know much about this game at all. What you're seeing here is the teaser trailer for HELISQUAD Covert option. All we have is this helicopter here. I'm not even sure what kind of helicopter it is. Maybe it's a Black Hawk, something like that, but that's all we have. Now from this obviously we can tell it's going to be a helicopter game involving flying helicopters, I expect, but we can also make some guesses based on the previous two titles released by this same developer, HomeNet Games. Now HomeNet Games have released Warplanes World War I Fighters. This is a plane flying combat sim set in World War I, and Warplanes Battles Over the Pacific, again a flying combat sim set in World War II. Now the World War II game called Warplanes Battle Over the Pacific is like the first game except better graphics and of course with better plane technology, meaning that things are a bit faster too. But both games, in my opinion, are the best combat flight sims on the Quest, and they have a host of features that include a single player campaign, a co-op mode, online multiplayer, and the ability to earn rewards when you complete missions and build your very own squadron and customize each of your planes. Now can we say for certain that HELISQUAD will have the exact same features? No, but seeing that the previous games had all of this and more, I would say it's a fairly safe bet to say that HELISQUAD will feature some of these things too. So the next reveal trailer that we're treated to is PATHCRAFT. Now this game originally came out on the Oculus Go and then was released on SideQuest, although I don't think the SideQuest version exists unfortunately anymore. But this remake is likely to be better than any of these previous versions because it's being published by none other than Vertigo Games. Now Vertigo Games, if you're not aware, are responsible for games like Arizona Sunshine, A Fisherman's Tale and After the Fall. Now these are brilliant VR games, I'm sure you've heard of some of them at least. So I think it's got a pretty good chance of being a good game, but what exactly is PATHCRAFT? Well, I think the aim of the game here is that you have this little fella and he's trying to get from point A to point B, collecting what look like power cells along the way. Now it's your job to physically build a path while making sure that he doesn't fall off the edge into the abyss. Now I love the concept, it's obviously been inspired by such classic games like Lemmings. And of course I love Lemmings, and so I think this game has a lot of potential. Now the devs promised a ton of puzzles, and they also say that it's a game that's suitable for VR newcomers of all ages. Now this says two things to me: that it will be a comfortable experience and that it'll also be suitable for more mature players. So hopefully it will have some complex puzzles in there, and I really do hope we get to see some challenging puzzles in this game despite its childish look. Because although I like the look of the game, I would only play it if it did offer me a challenge. So I hope it's not just for a younger audience. And I do think there's plenty of opportunities here to create a few head scratchers when it comes to the puzzles, because there are a variety of different block types that you can select for different situations, which will certainly bring some complexity to the game. Now beyond that, as you complete puzzles, you will unlock new gameplay mechanics, new environments and new costumes, as you can see in the trailer. Now this next one is quite interesting. It's called What the Bat. So you remember the film Edward Scissorhands? Well, this is the same kind of premise, except instead of scissors you have baseball bats for hands. Now it's coming to both Steam VR and Quest 2 platforms in 2022. Now according to the devs, there's going to be over 100 levels filled with fun mini games that involve trying to carry out ordinary tasks like cooking, shooting, painting and parking, but of course you've got baseball bat hands, which should make things a lot trickier. Now I really can't tell you what to expect with this game. This is brand new territory for me, but I can say the developers have previously made a game called, wait for it, What the Golf. Now What the Golf has received an impressive 84% on Metacritic, so that's a good sign that this might have some promise. Now this is a single player game, but I believe you can still compete with your friends via high scores and that kind of thing. You can also unlock arcade games as you go, and it will take you about 4 hours to complete according to the developers. Other than that, all I can say is that this game looks like a bit of fun, especially as a family game, but as to how it will turn out, we'll just have to wait and see. Now launching late this year in 2022 on both the Quest 2 and Steam platforms is a game called Killer Frequency. Now in this game you play a late night radio host, and it's a first person horror adventure game where your callers are being stalked by a mysterious killer. Now as the radio host you have to take their calls, gather clues and solve puzzles in order to unravel the mystery and catch the perpetrator. There's going to be branching dialogue options, so let's say you take a call from a potential victim, you'll be able to make a choice on whether to help guide them to safety or be a complete bastard and air their final moments on live radio. I think it's a very original and fresh concept. I also love the fact that it's set in a 1980s radio studio, so you can listen to some awesome 80s inspired tracks while you try to solve the mystery. Now one more interesting thing to note is that the Steam version is actually a flat screen version. Now this means that the Quest 2 version has been built from the ground up as a VR game, so it won't just be a port from Steam VR to the Quest. Now also coming in 2022 to the Quest 2 and Steam VR platforms is the game Broken Edge. Now clearly, as you can see from the trailer, it's a 1 versus 1 sword fighting dueling game. And we've seen these kinds of games before, and I'm thinking specifically of the game Swordsman VR. Now incidentally, Swordsman VR is being released on the Quest June 14th, and I'll be featuring it on my channel. But this game is a bit different to that. Not only in terms of its visuals, as you can see the graphics are quite vibrant and cartoony even, but also in terms of the mechanics. Now Broken Edge relies on cutting edge fencing mechanics. And what does that mean? I'm not sure exactly, but I believe it means using fencing moves, using fencing techniques might actually put you at an advantage for the game. So I don't think it's going to be a game where you can just swing your sword around like a nutter and win. I think it's going to reward those players who do use technique, specifically fencing techniques. Now another cool feature about this game is the ability to break your opponent's weapons. Now if we look closely at the trailer, and I'll freeze the frame here, it seems like you're able to break the opponent's weapon into 4 separate sections. You can also see there's 3 dots next to the sword. Now this is a guess, but I wonder if that might represent your lives. You can get hit 3 times before you get knocked out. Now you can also see a triangle and a circle above the sections of the sword, and again this is just a guess, but I would say these symbols might represent special attacks. So each character has special moves that you can pull off by making specific patterns in the air like you see in the trailer. Now maybe as your sword begins to break, you have a reduced ability to pull off these specials. Now that's just my guess looking at the trailer, but what we do know is that there will be global online leaderboards for you to climb, and I think this game has quite huge potential. We've seen dueling games like this in the past do very well, like Swordsman VR, like Blast On, so there's no reason why we won't see a similar thing here as long as they manage to pull it off. And finally we have Final Fury. This comes from the same studio that brought us Synth Riders. Now Final Fury is a furiously fast-paced classic arcade fighting game that's being reimagined as an immersive VR experience and optimised for multiplayer 1 versus 1 fights. Now, this game is set to release on all major VR platforms in 2023, which includes the Quest. Now I'm going to take a quote directly from the creative director, who says that we grew up playing games like Street Fighter and Killer Instinct and wanted to be the first to bring the genre to VR in order to fully immerse ourselves in the fights. So this is clearly a game that's been inspired by classic fighters, almost a love letter to classic fighting games of the past. Now in this game, fighting can be viewed from both first and third person perspectives. There will also be a roster of fighters. Not sure how many fighters yet, but from the trailer you can see the two fighters Tempest and Glitch. Each fighter will have their own backstory, their own home stage and music track. Now, this is all familiar stuff for fans of fighting arcade games. And as you can see in the trailer, at least some of the moves will be pulled off by making specific patterns in the air with your hands. Now I find this kind of system works well in VR. We've seen it done successfully in games like The Wizards, and it'll be interesting to see how it will translate into this modern interpretation of a classic fighting game. Now there will be the opportunity to sign up to the beta of this game quite soon. So if you're interested, head on over to the developers Discord and website to be kept up to date when that beta becomes available. So that's it for now. What game are you most looking forward to from that list? Let me know in the comment section below. I think for me it has to be Killer Frequency. I just love the concept, the idea seems so fresh. I also love the fact that you get to solve puzzles and unravel a mystery, and the fact that also you get to listen to 80s inspired tunes along the way. That's just the cherry on the cake for me. So I hope you enjoyed the video, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.